I'm free from living lies, free from my own deception, headed the right direction. I walk through the fields of mud. I thought I'd find a shelter in you, a perfect sky. Doors open, doors close in my heart again. Wonder how long it'll take till I kill the pain. Your walls between us keep me far away. There's no way back. Your heart is full of blood.
Hi, and welcome back to Bold Books and Bones. At the moment I'm in China, and every time I come here I feel like that I'm traveling to the future. I travel now for the last 20 years to China, and I just love to observe the pace of change that is happening in this country and how Chinese people are transforming their society. They are definitely leading in the digital age. Many daily things here are done via applications on smartphones. And I think that probably the most frequently used application is called WeChat. It's something like WhatsApp that we have in Europe. However, you can do so much more with it. For example, you can do your payments in a grocery store. And by the way, if you come to China, I experienced that in many cases I can't really pay anymore with normal cash like I used to. This is how digital they became. They really prefer that you use an app to make a transaction. Every time I visit this city, Nanjing, I stay in the Jinling Hotel. This is where I'm actually recording this video right now. Also, this hotel is a beautiful example how people can modernize and reinvent themselves in an incredible way. They not only have very professional service and very friendly people working here, but they also acquired recently 2 robot butlers. Apparently, when you need water or you need some slippers or you just want to find a way to your hotel room, the butler can help. So I'm definitely going to check them out at the end of this video. It seems like in China they adapt to this digital age to the extreme. Yesterday, for example, I was in the flagship store of DJI in Nanjing, which was a great experience. DJI stands for Dajiang Innovations. Translated, it means something like innovations without limits. But can you imagine that this famous company, DJI, 10 years ago nobody would have trusted to buy a drone from them. And now it's the world leader in very innovative and very reliable drones. But how did this fast change came all about? Another thing that is happening worldwide is that in so many financial transactions there are no banks anymore involved. How does that work? And then of course we have all these wearable and other devices that track us 24 hours and have so much information about us available. And of course, because of the digital age, we can now communicate with almost any person in the world whenever we want. Now, as a psychologist, I like to understand how can we human beings adapt to all these changes? What kind of research is out there that might help? And therefore I choose several books I would love to share with you. The first book is called Social Butterflies. I'm reading it on my iPad at the moment, and it is written by Michael Sanders and Susan Hume, and the subtitle is very powerful too. It says, Reclaiming the Positive Power of Social Networks. Now this book was exactly what I was looking for. It talks about our identity as human beings in the digital world. And social butterflies is the term they use to refer to our ability to move between social groups. But the term also refers to our ability to influence others, like in the butterfly effect, where something small can have a disproportional large effect on the world. We now have unprecedented means to communicate with other people, but these new means also make that we influence other people, sometimes even unconsciously, and we are of course influenced by others without always noticing it. Or even worse, we are manipulated by political groups or by organizations that use the digital means that are available to all of us now to let us do things that are really not good for ourselves and for the world that we live in right now. The authors do not avoid sensitive topics like the Brexit and the Trump election campaign to show how it works to divide a nation and how this will impact us for many years to come. Sanders and Hume give very clear insights in how the dynamics between people work in a digital age. They share a ton of examples and research that is really easy to understand. In the first part of the book, they describe how we identify with others and how these identities are shaping our thinking and our behavior. That's really cool stuff. I particularly like the chapter about social diffusion. This is about how information and actions move from one person in a network to other people. Understanding these particular dynamics in a world that is now full of online social influencers is absolutely worthwhile. Another term they explore in the book is called social capital. People might have, for example, 1,000 friends on Facebook or 20k followers on Twitter, and in some way that represents their network. However, it says very little about their social capital. The social capital represents the very fundamental building blocks of any network. The author suggests that if we want to make a quick measure of our social capital, we can just think about how many situations we can find a solution to by just calling a friend or a friend of a friend without needing to spend money for it. So let's say you need help with the math homework of your kids, or you need somebody who can help you how to train your dog. Maybe you need urgent advice from a lawyer, or you need advice on how to fill in an application form for university. Then who are you going to call? The more people you have available to help you in all these different situations, the larger your social capital is. Sanders and Hume discuss at length how you can optimize your social capital and how you can mobilize it to get more efficient support when you want to achieve difficult but valuable goals in your life. Again, just like understanding the diffusion of information in a network, it is essential to understand the difference between social capital on the one hand and having likes and followers on Facebook or on Twitter. The digital age comes with a much more complex way of interacting with other people. And if we want to describe, understand and influence these interactions as private persons or as, for example, business leaders, I think we need to get familiar with the different concepts that Sanders and Hume describe in their book. I very much like their positive but not naive mindset throughout the book. Initially, the internet was developed to do something good and to connect people with each other. However, some rather dark forces also have started to use it, and they spread hate and division among us. This book is therefore very important, because it's like a call for action to be conscious of what is happening at the moment in the digital world. And it's also a call for action to retake control of our own lives and of the communities that we live in, for the sake of creating a much more positive and social world. As a psychologist and as a human being, I very much recommend this wonderful book. And now I'm going to check out the robot in the hotel. The implementation of the robot in the hotel was done in a very clever way. You can order him to your room through a simple scanning of a QR code that you can find next to your bed. You can then ask him to bring you some slippers or water. Once you call on him, he operates in a fully autonomous way. He goes to a kind of vendor machine where he picks up the water or slippers that you requested, and then he calls an elevator and he drives all the way up to your room. I had several tries with it, and this recording shows the third action that he can perform, and that is bringing guests in front of their hotel room. There are 57 floors in this hotel and there are many corridors. However, the accuracy of the robot to bring you right in front of your room is very high. What I find very clever is that the makers of the robot gave it a childlike voice that speaks in a cute manner. I think in this way people don't look at it as a cold machine. Instead, I could observe several times that people were smiling when they hear it talk. Especially his verbal request to give him a positive rating because then he would receive candy from his mother was quite funny. My son and I had a bit of fun testing the robot under several conditions. And we were wondering what would happen if you make it more difficult for it and put some obstacles in front of the robot. But as you can see in this recording, it can perfectly manage it. Since he cannot identify if the obstacle is human or not, it first asks kindly to step aside. And when that did not work, it finds its way around. Robots are probably the most tangible expression of the digital age, and I'm sure there will be many more of them popping up in our daily lives soon. So I definitely continue to feel the need to better understand how the digital age will influence us and how we can shape it, hopefully for the better. Therefore, I'd like to share with you 2 more books that might help in the next episode of Bold Books and Bones. If you subscribe to my channel and you hit that bell, then you are sure not to miss part 2 of how we can understand the digital age. Thanks for watching and greetings from China.